It's a Saturday morning when you were a kid. What cartoons are you watching? Pinky and the Brain want to rule the universe. Good feelers flock together. Slappy whacks them with her purse. Buttons chases Mindy while Rita sings a verse. The writers flipped. We have no script. Why bother to rehearse? We're animaniacs. I had to page down too far to see this. My dad used to yell at me to turn off Animaniacs. Now he watches reruns of it and swears it was a show before its time. His go-to phase when mom says what are we doing? Is same thing we do every night, brain. Just glad he finally gets it. It's not as good as the original IMO, but it was the first season. You could kind of tell they were finding their footing by the end. Much like how the original series took some time to get some established side characters for the shorts, I'm going to guess that Hulu started with the 2-season contract, largely because in the opening credits we see the Warners signing a 2-season contract with the Grim Reaper, so I'm very much hoping and looking forward to more. As an aside, I was following Katie Rice before she got the Animaniacs contract. While I was sad to see Comp would on Wyanchi go on a long hiatus, she did a phenomenal job on her episodes. Let me hop into the Wayback Machine. Rocky and Bullwinkle, Fractured Fairy Tales, Dudley Do-Right / Peabody and Sherman, Scooby-Doo, The Archies, Lancelot Link's Secret Chimp, technically a live show. The Beatles. Damn, that was a lot of scrolling to find a post by someone closer to my age. But your machine went a little too far back, lol. My earliest memories of Saturday cartoons was Rocky and Bullwinkle, Mr. Magoo, Popeye, Felix the Cat, Mighty Mouse, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, X-Men, Batman, the animated series, Sonic the Hedgehog, Reboot, Biker Mice from Mars, Bravestar. I mean, I'm sure those weren't all showing on a Saturday, but that was my jam growing up. When I became a teenager it all turned into Dragon Ball Z, Pokemon and countless other clone shows where kids do battle with monsters, robots, cards, spinning tops while learning the value of friendship along the way. 5 hours of summer, once a week, one Saturday morning! Yeah, 5 hours of summer's what we need. One Saturday morning! 5 hours of summer, once a week, one Saturday morning. Whoa oh. 5 hours of summer ... one Saturday morning! All them cartoons they played during it. Best block of cartoons ever. Pepper Ann, Recess, The Proud Family, Doug, Hercules, Lloyd in Space, Sabrina, The Weekenders, Mickey Mouse Works, House of Mouse, Teacher's Pet, Buzz Lightyear of Star Command, Science Court, 101 Dalmatians, Jungle Cubs, and The New Adventures of Old Christmas of Winnie the Pooh. Honorable mentions go to Raw to Unage, Bonkers, and Gargoyles, then Nightmare Ned, and the Mighty Ducks, as they came before and after one Saturday morning was a thing, and also weren't all on ABC. Pretty sure cartoons are phenomenal. They helped me stay out of some of the worst of my childhood depression by giving me a way to escape and not think about my, quite literally, trashy, filthy, hoarder home upbringing full of mild to moderate neglect. It's why I want to work in that industry in character voice acting, so that I can help provide an escape for any other kids out there who really need it to keep their head above water because their home life and parents suck to whatever degree. Land of the Lost. I now have the DVD set and my kids like it. However, I had to explain there were no two-headed or fire-breathing dinosaurs. Matter of fact, I think the best were the live-action versus animated shows like HR Puff and stuff, and the craft shows like Wonderbug and Dr. Shrinker. After school was DuckTales, Darkwing Duck, Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers, Animaniacs and Batman animated series. My personal favorite Saturday was Muppet Babies, TMNT, Looney Tunes, and I loved Ren and Stimpy. but its schedule was irregular and very hard for a 12-year-old me to find, esprit internet. Oh yeah, almost forgot, one of the worst cartoons ever, Super Mario Brothers. It was a train wreck of a show, but I watched every week. Ben 10. Most likely rewatched the series on HBO Max and it still holds up pretty well, even with a bit of cringe comedy that I'm not particularly fond of. It's just so wildly creative and I'd argue Ben is one of the most realistically written child characters. Of course, a kid who gets superpowers would do a lot of stupid shit with it, but as the show goes on he does start to mature a bit more and learn how to actually think instead of simply brute forcing everything. I think I flipped between ABC, because we were eating pizza and watching TGIF the night before, Fox and later CBS. Couldn't tell you what was on any of them though. Plus, my dad instituted a first come, first served rule on the leftover pizza. So you couldn't watch too long because my siblings would eat it all and leave nothing for me. ABC, Tailspin, Rescue Rangers, DuckTales. I vaguely remember some cows that were Sheriff's Show. Also pro stars, Michael Jordan, Wayne Gretzky and Bo Jackson used sports to solve crimes. Fox, Isman, Bobby's World, At the Cat. CBS, Garfield. But then I realized Garfield sucked and the farm show was way better. It all starts at 6 a.m. with Rocky and Bullwinkle and Johnny Quest. This was on the local station, then on to the big three stations ABC, NBC and CBS to watch everything. Once a commercial comes on there's a channel change. Then in the afternoon, Doctor Who, Karate Flicks, and hopefully Godzilla is fighting Rodan. Damn, Saturdays were the bomb. Can't get up to catch the school bus but can set my alarm for 6 a.m. on a Saturday. Great times. Long shot, but I have to try. Around 20 plus years ago I saw the funniest cartoon ever. I remember laughing so hard. Unfortunately I tried to remember the show, short name, but failed. Frown. I remember the following. A child on an island, with pirates running after him, managed to avoid them doing some crazy funny stuff. It was plus minus 10 minutes episode. I hope one of you out there can relate, and even remember the name of this masterpiece. During the week after school I'd run my chubby ass home to catch Voltron. Line version, get outta here with the car version, but bullshit. Then weekends was G.I. Joe, Robotic, and Transformers. Then mom kicked us out the house for hours of shenanigans and hose drinks and coming back inside for lunch to get booted again, then back at dusk. Good times. Chip and Dale, Rescue Rangers, Tailspin, X-Men, and whatever cartoons were on an early 90s UK kids magazine show called Ghost Train. Pretty sure I saw the music video for It's a Shame About Trey by the Lemonheads on there circa 92, but I've got no way of proving it. I've been trying to remember the name of a short-lived cartoon from my childhood and hopefully this is a good place to get it answered. It was a show about a group of sports playing monsters. They were in a league where they played multiple sports. One week they would be playing hockey against skeletons, then the next week they would be playing football against Frankenstein's monsters. Cartoon Network eliminated having to wait until Saturday morning to watch cartoons for me. I lived and breathed this stuff, and still do. That being said, Looney Tunes would always play Saturday mornings on CN. On a side note, if anyone here gets me TV, the channel currently airs old theatrical shorts, Looney Tunes, Tom and Jerry, Popeye, Pink Panther, etc., Monday Saturdays. I recommend the Saturday morning showing since it airs in a 3-hour block, 1 hour Popeye, Pink Panther, 1 hour Tom and Jerry and 1 hour Looney Tunes, and doesn't have the interstitial segments from the weekday airings of Tune In With Me. I'm not American, so from what I remember the cartoons played either on the mornings or afternoons or both of weekdays, and probably on weekends too. though I'm not so sure of that. The ones I watched were Mask, Defenders of the Earth, Dom Dracula, Pole Position, Galaxy Rangers, Get Along Gang, Thundercats, Silverhawks, G.I. Joe, Jace and the Wheeled Warriors, Zillion, Tintin, Muppet Babies, Gummy Bears, DuckTales, Tailspin, Ghostbusters, both the one based on the movie and the one with two guys and a gorilla. Saturday morning cartoons had really stopped being a thing by the 90s since we had entire networks dedicated to kids' TV, but ABC would show Disney Channel cartoons. We couldn't afford Disney Channel and it wasn't standard yet, so it was so exciting when I could catch it. Recess, New Dog, though TBH, Disney ruined it, Pepper Ann. It was a great time to be a kid. Now in my 30s we make a point to watch Looney Tunes or Animaniacs or whatever cartoon we feel like on weekend mornings. The Raccoons, Biker Mice from Mars, Sharky and George, Jace and the Wheeled Warriors, DuckTales, Tailspin. I could do this all day. Ed. Denver the Last Dinosaur, Hammerman, Darkwing Duck, Mask, The New Adventures of He-Man, Thundercats, Transformers, Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles, Garfield and Friends, Centurions, Bucky O'Hare, Danger Mouse, Bravestar, The Hurricanes, Ghostbusters, Batman, the animated series. None. That shit was on too early. I might see one show before golf. When I was like 11 and wanted to watch the premiere of Power Rangers, I just stayed up all night to watch it at 6 a.m. and then went to bed. Luckily in the late 80s/early 90s there were some pretty decent pickings in the after-school blocks. If I was in the 70s I would have been Soul. Gargoyles, DBZ, Evangelion, yes, it was on Portuguese national TV in the 90s. I couldn't understand half of it, but it had awesome, creepy symbiotic giant robots, biker mice from Mars, Sailor Moon, LOL, Samurai X, Rurouni Kenshin, and many more. Also, live shows like Power Rangers, Knight Rider, A-Team, Xena the Princess Warrior, MacGyver, Transformers, G.I. Joe and old Looney Tunes until 11 a.m. which meant NWA Wrestling would come on, and at noon WWF had a Saturday weekly show. Also the local UHF channel had Robotech early in the morning. It was my first exposure to anime. It was also the first cartoon I ever saw where people actually died when their vehicles were shot as opposed to bailing out like they did in the first two shows I mentioned. Smurfs, Snorks, G.I. Joe, He-Man, Scooby-Doo Where Are You?, Tom and Jerry, Shirt Tales, Jem and the Holograms, Jetsons, Flintstones, Richie Rich, Super Friends, TMNT, Roadrunner and Coyote, Gummy Bears, Heathcliff, Garfield and Friends, Inspector Gadget, Popples, Captain Caveman, Care Bears, Mask, Voltron, Thundercats, Pac-Man, Muppet Babies, Pee-wee's Playhouse, not a cartoon itself but there was one within the show. I watched Saturday cartoons from age 3 until in my teens lol. So the real question is what year? But as a kid I remember, Muppet Babies, Garfield and Friends, a pup named Scooby-Doo, Slimer and the Real Ghostbusters, Beetlejuice. I remember Alvin and the Chipmunks in there and Alf cartoon at some point. Some short-run shows like Denver the Last Dinosaur and Brewdog and the Dweebs. A few years earlier I remember Care Bears and Rainbow Bright, and I think an Alf cartoon. Justice League, Unlimited, Batman Beyond, Atlas, Blade, Pokemon, Digimon, Zealand Showdown, TMNT, Teen Titans, X-Men, Gargoyles, DBZ, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood to name a few. TV was super generous to us in the mid-2000s. Always had to get up since we didn't really keep any empty videotapes and there was a feed to get the recording function on the cable box, or at least I was told that. Damn near all of them. I had 2 VCRs and a TV with 2 different recap ports. Sometimes there were 3 stations playing a show I wanted to watch, so the VCRs were recording and I was watching one. And if nothing was on in the next half hour, I watched one of the tapes, then waited for the next show to start. Good times. Looking at the top answers so far, it looks like many of us here are a similar age, and I agree on all these top-tier cartoons everyone's mentioning. Just wanted to add that it's also fun to watch these as adults now. My partner and I have been ordering breakfast every Saturday morning when we're able and watching some of our faves on Disney. Highly recommended. The Investigation Discovery Channel, because my mom would not let me change the channel when her true crime shows are on. And my family can't figure out why I've liked watching true crime stuff since I was a kid. Edit, if she so graciously let me change the channel. I say this loosely because she let me change it at like 10 a.m. I'd watch whatever cartoon I could find. Mainly it was SpongeBob because I was a kid in the late 2000s. Mid-2010s, and that's all Nick would play. My grandmother recorded one Saturday's worth of cartoons, and when I would go to their house to sleep over, I'd usually watch it after the regular cartoons were over. I remembered some of the shows, but specifically I remember the episode of Alvin and the Chipmunks because it had Stand By Me as the second act song. I was able to narrow it down to September 26, 1987 as the date and NBC as the channel. She made that VHS tape for me, which included Disney's Adventures of the Gummy Bears, an hour and a half of the Smurfs, not my favorite, Fraggle Rock, the animated series, Alvin and the Chipmunks, and ALF, the animated series. Instead of Smurfs, I probably would have watched the Muppet Babies on CBS instead, but the rest of those were bangers. I don't quite remember if these were on Saturday, but for various channels, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Digimon Adventure, Pokemon Indigo League, and then when I was much younger, Gummy Bears, Eureka's Castle, Allegra's Window, Gullah Gullah Island, Maisie, Franklin, Spot, lots of other shows on Nick Jr., Blue's Clues 2, Muppet Babies, Sesame Street, Fraggle Rock, yeah, lots of that stuff. None. I was raised as a Jehovah's Witness and therefore has to go knocking on doors every Saturday morning. I was so jealous when the rare person would open the door and the smell of bacon and syrup would come wafting out. And then I'd see the kids sitting on the floor in their pajamas watching cartoons. Voltron, the Centurions, Stunt Dogs, Thundercats, He-Man, G.I. Joe, the Smurfs, The Adventures of Rocky and Bullwinkle and Friends, Tennessee Tuxedo, Adventures of the Gummy Bears, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Muppet Babies, Doug, Real Monsters, Gargoyles, Captain Planet, Scooby-Doo, Underdog, Inspector Gadget, Wacky Races, The Jetsons, Hong Kong Phooey, Huckleberry Hound, Quick Draw McGraw, Care Bears, Snorks, Popples, Rainbow Bright, Garfield and Friends, Mighty Mouse, Alvin and the Chipmunks, Dexter's Laboratory, Powerpuff Girls, Transformers, Rock Lords, GoBots, Beetlejuice, Fat Albert, It's Punky Brewster, Yogi Bear, A Pup Named Scooby-Doo, Mighty Mouse, Looney Tunes, Tom and Jerry, The Adventures of Teddy Ruxpin, Winnie the Pooh, Wild West COW, Boys of Moo Mesa, Darkwing Duck, The Flintstones, Tiny Toon Adventures, Tasmania. I had a long and cartoon-filled youth. On Saturdays, Sonic the Hedgehog, TMNT, X-Men, Spider-Man, Reboot, Pee-wee's Playhouse, just to name a few. On weekday mornings, Recess, Mummies Alive, Toxic Crusaders, Mutant League. On weekday afternoons, DuckTales, Tailspin, Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers, Gargoyles, Power Rangers, Batman Taz, Tiny Toon Adventures and Animaniacs. Dude, Seriously, being a kid between 1989 and 1996 was an absolute lottery win when it came to quality cartoons. I see cartoons now and they're so sanitized. Someone earlier mentioned the gun accident episode of Gargoyles. That was some hard-hitting shit for 11-year-old me to take in. That did more for me to really understand that guns weren't anything to screw with than any lame school presentation or PSA, and I still think back to it from time to time.